So I do want to ask you a little bit about, or talk a little bit about body dysmorphia, because what made me think about that is I think it was Phil Heath, after it was one of his Olympia wins. What did he have, 7 of them or 8 or whatever? Was talking about how he needs to improve his calves and stuff along that line. So here I'm hearing a guy who just won the highest award in bodybuilding, but even he isn't content with the way he looks, right?
Yeah.
And I've yet to really even meet any bodybuilder that was really content on how they are. I mean, even now, I'm looking at myself saying, I need bigger legs. Everybody that I meet is not happy with where they are. So what do you think about, other people will look at us from the outside and say, hey, I want to look like you. But then we're always saying, no, I need bigger legs. I need a bigger back. Everything's got to improve. And we're never happy with where we are. What is that all about?
Yeah, body dysmorphia is rampant in our sport, needless to say. So first thing you need to, what is unhealthy versus healthy? And you even see it in food, by the way, because a lot of the clean eating dieters, sometimes people that follow a more flexible dietary approach, they'll point the finger and they'll be like, you guys aren't balanced because you're just eating clean foods, and then meanwhile they're measuring out their ice cream to the exact gram on the scale, whereas the rest of the population's like, what the hell are you doing? You have a problem. So I think that body dysmorphia is the biggest thing that I see it being problematic. Is that nobody sees themselves entirely accurately at all stages. Even using a personal example, I remember coming out of a show is the hardest part, right? When you've worked so hard to get so lean, and then you have to watch it slip away as you put body fat on. And I remember after 2016 when I turned pro, I remember, I kept in mind I was not going to see myself accurately. It's kind of like driving on the highway at 90 miles an hour, and then you have to get off at and go 40 miles an hour, and you feel like you're just crawling. But if so I remember 7 weeks post-show, I had only put on 8 pounds. I still had striated glutes, and by any objective measure, I was still shredded. And I remember looking at myself in the mirror, and I woke up one morning, I'm like, I look terrible right now. And then I caught myself, and I'm like, no, you don't. You're just not show lean anymore. So being able to catch these tendencies is important. Making sure that you are still doing what needs to be accurate, and most importantly with body dysmorphia is, I think you need to identify if you are tying this to your self-worth. That's where things get really dangerous. Because in a sport where we all want to get better, it's one thing to be like, man, I really need to bring up my chest. It's another thing to be like, man, I am a piece of shit, and I will not be better unless I bring up my chest.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's such a different attitude, because then then identifying that there is a difference between being driven to achieve your goals and having a compulsion. Body dysmorphia, I find that people actually work against their goals when they are body dysmorphic, because they have this compulsion to always do more. One thing I commonly see with people with body dysmorphia is excessive cardio. Excessive cardio is just rampant in people with body dysmorphia. I need to be leaner. I need to be leaner. I need to stay lean all the time. So people that have body dysmorphia, because it's tied to their self-worth, right? They don't allow themselves to gain a healthy amount of body fat in the off season. Right. So in the long run, they're actually working against their own efforts, because they're not going to put on as much muscle. They're going to harm their hormonal profile, because you need ample body fat to have an optimal hormonal profile. So it's like they're afraid to gain weight because they have this low self-worth. And so it's like, if you can't even allow yourself to do the healthy things, if it's interfering with your health and your progress, then you need to realize you have a significant degree of body dysmorphia, and it's time to address it, because it's actually preventing you from being healthy and making progress.
You mind if I get one more question out of it? The amount of time that you train in a gym and taking days off, right? That one, I have to admit, was always a struggle with mine, because it was explained to me one time. It was Ann Sheehan kind of said, listen, when you're in the gym, you're tearing down muscle. when you're out of the gym is when you're actually growing, because you're healing at that point. So she was the first one that made me recognize that I'm in the gym too long, right? And then you pointed that out to me again recently, where you cut me back to 4 days a week, where, you know, I was more like 6, you know, before. And actually, I'm noticing I'm making more progress now with less time in the gym. How do you, which seems very odd that would actually happen, because, like, be honest, when I was working out 6 days a week, I'd come to the gym. I felt like I was recovered, and I felt like everything was fine. And so it didn't feel like I was doing any more harm or tearing down, but I'm noticing I'm definitely progressing more at 4 days than 6. So how would you determine the ample amount of rest days? And
yeah, I don't often find people that are progressing optimally at 6 days a week training. Right. You know, and a lot of times people will tell me I feel fine on the 6 days a week, and I'm like, okay, you feel fine, but we could probably feel better. And I think the other thing is, like, it's one of those things, kind of like we talked about with reduced sleep. People are like, I do fine on 5 hours of sleep. Right. But it's like, I think it's sometimes people don't realize how much better they can feel or how much harder they can train until they just get that extra day off. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, people may be doing fine, but it's like there's another level of fine, right? Right. And so I do like to have periods. I think usually the majority of people will fall under the umbrella of 5 days a week of training. And then you can just adjust volume up and down within those 5 days a week. But I do know a fair number of people where 4 is like their max, it's depending on how they train, if they're training really hard in those 4 days. But yeah, the rest days, people that love training, myself included, I mean, I've been through periods in my own career where it's like, man, I'd really love to go 6-7 days a week. But you know, people that love training, it is hard to get out of there. But then, once again, that's where I think becoming a well-balanced person and having things to look forward to doing on your off days is important. Like, I think there should be something in your head that you've been wanting more time to do. And then by the time your off day comes around, it's not, oh, I can't train today. It's, oh, I'm excited to do this. So I think if you're a motivated and active and, like myself, a busy-minded person, that energy needs to be placed somewhere. And, you know, for me, it's like, hey, I'm not training today, but I have more time to do this, so let's do that, you know. Right.
Well, I think some of it for people like myself are comfortable. We like a routine, right? I don't know why. Like, I wake up pretty much at the same time every day. I eat pretty much at the same time. I work out at this time. So working out every day was almost like it fit well into my routine.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't more than that. More than that's just
you like to do it. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I do want to thank you for spending the time and helping us educate and get everybody at J Street. And we're here at Grit Fitness. And say the town again for me, because I'm going to put you.
Cherville. Yeah, I appreciate Grit letting us come out. You know, the gym's been really good to me over the course of my career, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to train a little bit here today, and it looks like an awesome facility. And plus, we have more videos to be coming out. We're just going to keep this going all the way up to the show, which will be in 2025. And I'm still hoping to get you out there again for that show, which would be fantastic. And we will completely do the road to Pittsburgh. And I know by the time we get there, it should be night and day difference to what we just saw last July, which I still thought we had a good package in there. But to your point, there was just areas that if we could just improve this, and hopefully we never know who's going to show up on that day. Yeah. But hopefully I will bring my best package on there. The posing will be down pat. I know that the dieting will come in with a great package for that show, and it should be some good things along the way.
Yeah, I feel confident. I mean, everything's in place, and now it's just a matter of doing the work.
Yeah, Cliff, let people know how they can find you and how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, the best places to get a hold of me is either through my website. It's teamwilsonbb.com, or my Instagram, which is at CWTeamWilson. Right. And yeah, other than that, I do have the new book coming out, Becoming Unrivaled, which, like I said, I'll do the pre-sale mid-October, and then other than that, you know, I don't really do too much. Oh, and I do have my coaching mentorship, which I do with coaches that want to either get into coaching or take their coaching to the next level. I kind of teach them the way I approach the whole process of coaching. But yeah, other than that, I'm just out there coaching and doing my thing.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I read your books. Obviously, I'm now paying you for your coaching, you know what I mean? And I've done your coaching mentorship. So I'm not just saying this because I'm actually putting my efforts behind it, but Cliff is an outstanding coach. If you look at his competitors, each one is better than the next, right? And that's the sign. If you're choosing a coach, look at the people that they're putting on stage. And I mean, hands down, I mean, that was why I continued with you. It's like, I just haven't seen anybody that's been on stage that didn't look amazing,
I appreciate it.
And every time I've gone on to a show, I just don't think I could have looked better for that show. So it's, you know what I mean? And so that's why I keep coming back.
I appreciate that. Yeah. You know, I think when it comes to coaching, a lot of times coaches are like, more clients. I'm like, you know, I always say, you know, if you keep that same client for 8 years, you don't even have to look for another client.
Right. So this is awesome. But thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having me.